Hey there, you 12s. This is example 7, again to do with finance solver. This I've just done the previous example before, example 6, so there's still some numbers on this side here. But let's have a go with this question here. Sifo borrows $10,000. So again, I want you to get in the habit of writing down what details you've given. And they tell us it's $10,000 that they've borrowed. So we've got present value, the amount that they borrowed is $10,000. And then repaid in equal payments, that's great to know, over a period of 5 years, okay? And then interest is charged at, and they tell us it's 8% per annum, so I now know I%, so interest is now at 8%. And what else do I know? Compounding monthly. Okay, so that's going to be key when you're calculating for the next few questions here. Now, part A, using Finance Solver, they want you to find the monthly payment amount correct to the nearest cent. So unlike example 6, they normally tell you what payments you need to make in order to ensure that after the period of 5 years that you are able to completely pay off your loan with interest, 8% interest. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we need to first calculate N, which we know that it's going to be over a period of 5 years. But 5 years compounded monthly, that we know that there are 12 months in a year. So that means 5 years has to equal to 5 times 12 number of times for compounding. So I'm compounding 5 years and there are 12 months in a year. So that's how many times I'm compounding. And that gives me, oh, that's weird. Why didn't it? 5 times 12 is definitely not. 5 times 12, and I'm just going to move down. Should have pressed tab actually. Rate is 8%. Present value is 10,000. This one I don't know, and future value I want it to be 0. Okay, so that's key. I want my future value to end up being 0, so I don't owe them anything. And then PPY is the number of payments per year. Well, since it's compounded monthly, it's going to be 12, and that also makes sure that my CPY, which is how many times the interest is getting compounded, which often, actually most of the time, it's always the same. Okay, so what am I trying to calculate? I'm trying to calculate PMT, which is my payments. So right here, I am just going to click write PMT just to remind you. PMT, I'm going to press enter. Oh, whoops. On my calculator, enter. And notice it's negative. Okay, so I'm going to screenshot that just to help you see. Hopefully I didn't do anything. Yeah, good. Finance solver. So that you can see that my PMT, just going to make it a bit smaller there. Can you see my PMT is now negative? And what does that mean again? Negative means it's money out of your pocket. In this case, every month, it's out of your pocket at $202.70, I guess round to the nearest cent is 76 cents there. So that's the amount of payment that I would need to make every month, okay, or SIFO needs to make every month. So SIFO needs to pay or make $202.76 every month, because that's how much it's compoundedly. Okay, and then part B, let's see part B. So part B of the question says the total cost of repaying the loan to the nearest dollar. So they want you to find what is the total cost of repaying the loan, which is the number of payments times the payment amount over time. Okay, so what is the total cost? Well, the total cost has to be number of payments. How many times did we do the payments? We did 60 of them, didn't we? And then number of payments that you make, well, it's $202.76 every time. So if I wanted to know the total payments that I've made, well, you've done $202.76 every month. And for the course of 5 years, well, you paid 60 times. So that's why it's $202.76 times 60, which gives you, I guess I just gotta press escape and just go 202.76 multiplied to 60, and that gives me $12,165.60. Okay, so that's how much I would have had to pay over the course of 5 years. And then part C, what do they ask me to do? They say they want you to find the total amount of interest paid to the nearest dollar. So this is pretty easy to figure out because how much did you borrow to begin with? All right, so you borrowed $10,000. So you borrowed, well, CIFO borrowed $10,000, right? But then CIFO ended up paying total payment of $12,165.60. So over the course of 5 years, he ended up paying an extra how much? That's clearly the interest part. So how do you work out that interest? Well, you simply take the difference between them. Therefore, 12165.6 minus 10,000 will give you the interest, which is really $2,165.60. That would be the amount of interest that has accrued over the 5 years. But they said paid to the nearest dollar. So to the nearest dollar would then be $2,166 is how much that in terms of interest that they had to pay. Okay, so that's the idea. That's how you use Finance Solver. Well, for the main first part. So you can find payments, but you can also find the future value. Essentially, you're reducing the balance, but using a CAS calculator.